With Sonic Racing CrossWorlds being out for over a week now and me playing it quite a bit, I thought now would be the best time to make a video to help anybody trying to get into this game. So I want to go through all of the main aspects of this game and give some tips and tricks and a little bit of advice to hopefully make your experience a little bit better. So to get right into it, let's talk about the basic driving. The basic moment-to-moment gameplay. What are some tricks I can give there? First of all, the turning in this game has been a little bit of a discussion. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to turn when you're not using either the extreme gear or a handling type vehicle. And I must confess that I was struggling with this for a while as well, until it really clicked with me, you just need to let go of the accelerator. Simply letting go of the accelerator during a turn makes every turn doable. There is only like 2 turns in the game that you have to even brake at all. And even in those cases, it's usually better if you can to try and not brake, because that's always going to end up slowing you down. But if you just let go of the accelerator, your speed doesn't seem to be affected. It really just makes your turning way tighter. And this doesn't just apply on land, it also applies on the boats, which has been the biggest issue with turning in this game. Like, this turn at the end of Chow Park is like evil if you don't know how to do this. It's such a simple trick, but it's going to make your experience with the game way smoother, especially once you've unlocked supersonic speed where you're going way faster. Another thing I'd recommend is to make sure you're not fighting against the air controls. I had a big issue with the air controls. I found them very finicky. It was just very tedious. It felt like I had zero control over the flight. But I really realized that's just because I kept trying to drift every 3 seconds, when in reality that's extremely unnecessary. In fact, it's usually faster to not bother with this, because you're going to end up slowing yourself down by just trying too hard. It is always going to be way more effective to make sure your lines are good and you're always hitting the blue center of the dash rings in the air, which increases your speed exponentially. Now, the next 3 bits of advice are very closely related. First of which is that in the 3rd lap of most of the courses in this game, you're going to see blue dash pads. Now, of course, these do just make you faster, but they also have another property. They act as if a wisp boost, which has a few interesting effects, which is the next thing I want to talk about. If you have a boost wisp, you can cross any of these grass gaps. Now, this is taught to you pretty well, but it's very important to know the fact that these blue dash panels work as wisps. A great example of how you can use this is in E-Stadium's final lap. You can just take this huge corner by using the blue dash panel. But that's not all when it comes to grass. You can also use Omochow to cross grass. If you have Omochow activated and he's giving you rings, you can just smooth coast right over the grass. Now, of course, it's not as fast as a boost because, well, you're not boosting, but you still can take some of these big grass skips if you have Omochow, which I really appreciated because while rings are useful in this game, Omochow is kind of mad useless outside of this. Also, another thing with track design is to make sure you look out for dash rings. These are always killer shortcuts. Now, you don't really see them at the beginning of the game, but they start to appear more often later on, and trust me, they are great. If you see one, it is always best to take it. Also, make sure you're keeping a lookout for travel ring shortcuts. Now, some of these are actual shortcuts like in E-Stadium, but some of them are not. They are actually a slowdown path, but you get a reward of a very special item. That's what you can see in Colorful Mall. But make sure you keep a look out for these, because if they're a shortcut, then you can definitely take it to save some time, but if you're falling a little bit behind, it might be worth risking it so that you can get a good item. And so you may have noticed I've mentioned E-Stadium a lot, and that's my next point. If you want to really figure out the mechanics of this game, learn E-Stadium. If you know this track inwards and outwards, then trust me, you're going to have almost all of the main game mechanics totally down. I mean, we've got trick segments, we've got grass segments, blue dash panels, travel ring shortcuts. It's got basically everything. So E-Stadium is a really good opening track, and it is great to master all of the main mechanics in this game. Next up, I wanted to talk about the gadgets. Now, in the betas for this game, I had the impression that gadgets were essentially going to give you extra abilities. I assumed that's really all they were for, but I have to say that once you get a good bit through this game and you start unlocking all of the gadgets, you realize that some of the best gadgets are the ones that increase your stats. Whether you're using the standard stat adjustments to make your handling a little better, or your speed a little better, or if you're on extreme gear to make your boost just a little bit better, or you're using a standard kit to make your drifting way tighter, these are some of the most useful gadgets, but you definitely don't have them at the start, so that's just gonna have to be a later unlock. Another thing I'd like to mention with this system is that you need to make sure that your character, your vehicle type, and your gadget combination all work together. Now that doesn't mean there isn't room for experimentation, but if I'm using a power vehicle and a power character, it would only make sense for me to probably have some item defense gadgets. Just like if I'm using a boost vehicle type and a boost character, it would only make sense for me to have a gadget setup that was either going to promote the boosting stat or make drifting way easier. There's tons of room for experimentation, but make sure you're really considering all of the factors going into this. Your character, your vehicle, and your gadgets all work together. So I would highly encourage creating different gadget combinations with a certain vehicle and character in mind. For example, when I'm playing Time Trial, I almost always want to have Hatsune Miku in a handling vehicle with a gadget setup that's going to promote that stat. And so saying that, I do want to shout out a few of my favorite gadgets. And with that, I'm gonna say what's required to unlock them if you're interested in getting them. First up is Quick Recovery. This makes items go from an actual threat to just a minor bump in the road. It's crazy how much this helps if you're getting bombarded by items. And this gadget requires that you have finished 18 races in order to unlock it. Next is Wisp Chance Up, and what it does is, well, in the name, it makes getting Wisp items far more likely. And in this game, unlike something like Team Sonic Racing, there are essentially 0 useless wisps in this game. All of the wisps are great, seriously. Even the laser wisp, which I think is very oftentimes overlooked, has saved me a race so many times. And to unlock this gadget, you have to have reached D rank plus in World Match. Next up is Drift Charge Kit. Now this one is also, like it says in the name, it makes charging drifts insanely quick. Now if you pair this up with some other gadgets, drifting is almost instantaneous. It's ridiculous. So yeah, this one is really good. I'm almost always using it when I'm playing Time Trial, going for those A ranks or S ranks. And to unlock this one, you have to complete 78 races. Next up is Counter Quick Charge. So this one isn't my personal favorite, but I've seen a lot of people do some crazy stuff with it, so I have to recommend it. So what this gadget does is that if you were drifting in one direction and then switch your direction, you instantly fill that charge. Now typically in this game I would never recommend snaking, but with this it actually becomes a viable strategy because those charges are instant. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people use this in really creative ways on Time Trial or to just get crazy ahead of people online. But with that said, this one is no joke. This takes 94 races to unlock. And so the final gadget I'd like to bring up is Extended Slipstream. This one is really good when it's paired with the extreme gear. When you're playing online in this game, you are just in a cluster of players. Very few times, unless you get totally knocked off the course, are you not around players constantly. So this gadget is crazy useful because you're just borrowing speed because there's some person in front of you. So this gadget making slipstreams occur way more often is very, very useful. And this one ain't too hard to unlock, it only takes 30 races to get. So now with the main gameplay mechanics covered, I want to talk about the game modes in this game. Firstly, the Grand Prix. Now this is the main content of this game. This is considered the game. After beating it, in fact, you get credits, so I can call this the main content of the game, and of course, at least for single player. So at the Grand Prix, it is quickly established that Supersonic is your big reward. And so, how do you unlock him? You have to defeat every rival in this game, which means that you're going to have to play through the Grand Prix a minimum of 23 times. And so, that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But here's how I would play through it in order to make your experience more fun. First off, just play through the whole thing normally. All 8 Grand Prix bog standard on Sonic speed, just to play through the game. But once you've done that and hit the credits and unlocked the red Sage skin, it's time to come back and play more. So here's what I would recommend to do from this point. I would recommend playing through all of the Grand Prix in any order you like on supersonic speed, and then once you're done with that, playing through all of them again on mirror speed. Of course, you're not going to need to play through the final one, but you know, whatever, it mostly adds up to 23. Doing it this way is going to give you the most fresh experience. You play through it bog standard on Sonic speed, then you get to play through it way faster as your reward for beating all of them with supersonic speed, and then you get to play the tracks from a totally new angle on mirror mode. This would definitely be the way I recommend to do it. And another thing you're going to run into with this Grand Prix is the CPUs. Man, the rivals and the CPUs in this game do not mess around. If you just want to cheese it, sure, you could set them all to level 1, but honestly, I would say that's not the most fun. Heck, even when I was just trying to grind through it super quickly, I had to do a few difficult rivals, like, come on, man. And seriously, even now, after playing this game for over 60 hours, I still cannot consistently beat max level rivals. They are seriously difficult. So I would encourage challenging yourself throughout this whole thing, because these CPUs don't mess around, man. So the final thing I want to touch on in this video is the time trial. So if you're looking to get all of those A ranks, or if you're going crazy for the S ranks, but mainly the A ranks so you can unlock all of those super duper cool songs in the jukebox, here's what I recommend. First up, you gotta use Miku on the extreme gear. For some reason, Miku is the only boost type character in this game. I mean, I'm not complaining, Miku is pretty cool after all. With a gadget setup of just 2 gadgets. Use the boost kit, standard kit thingy, and the drift charge kit. I forgot the name of the boost one, but that thing. These 2 are legendary. It may not be the best in the game, but I tell you, I was consistently getting A ranks on my first try doing this. The only things that were giving me trouble were a few water sections, but that was just because I didn't know to let go of the accelerator yet. But honestly, that was kind of it. I just had a little trouble turning in a few areas, but that was kind of it. And in retrospect, that turning really wasn't an issue. So honestly, if you've got a good bit of experience with the game already and you go through these, I could reasonably see you first try every one of these, because I am certainly not that good at this game. And so yeah, with that said, that's all of the main basics that I wanted to talk about in this video. So hopefully I shared something that might be useful, and if you have something useful that you would like to share with everybody else, make sure you drop it in the comments below. And so yeah, with all of that said, I hope all of you have an amazing rest of your day. God bless.